Hello everybody, this is quixQuery here, and today we are going to be talking about some basic strategy, some beginner level strategy for the game Plants vs. Zombies 2. Now, Plants vs. Zombies 2, the best way to describe it is to call it a lane-based tower defense, and so it is actually quite unique. It was quite revolutionary when the first one came out, and now we have number 2 with tons of new plants, 1,000 times more levels, and a bunch of other things, including costumes and whole sorts of cool stuff. And so we are going to be talking about the basic strategy today, and without further ado, here we go. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you're thrown into all of this stuff is to make sure that you have sunflowers and start getting a whole row of them down. You want to do this about as quick as you possibly can, as you really want to rush those out, because the faster you get those out, the better your game will be in the long run. And on some of the easy levels, they're pretty nice about it, whether or not you actually get the sunflowers out or not, but believe me, in the later levels, you need to get those sunflowers out there quick, because they will rush you with all sorts of stuff, and your life will be miserable if you do not get a good supply of sun going. And so, as you can see here, I've put my sunflowers on the second row, and now you want to put your sunflowers farther back so, well, the zombies can't eat them. You don't want the zombies eating the sunflowers, right? But the reason I put them on the second row is quite interesting, because if I put them on the second row, they can actually tank while, kind of be like a tank of sorts for the zombies, while the damage dealers in the back can have a few extra shots to take out the zombies. Whereas if I put them in the back, and the damage dealer, or in this case the pea shooter, in front of the sunflower, then what ends up happening is that the zombie is actually able to tear through both lines of defense, and so even though in the one I would have to put out more sunflowers, a sunflower again, to tank it, that is far better than having a whole lane go, and so, yeah. So you want to get those sunflowers out there, and I like to, again, I like to put mine on the second row, but whatever floats your boat, as long as you get those sunflowers out there and get a steady supply of sun rolling in. Now, the second order of business is, once you have all of your sun production and sunflowers down, is to try and get damage dealing down in every lane. And so in this instance right here, we have pea shooters that we're using, and I am placing them in every lane before I start doubling them up to put more of them in one lane, because the game likes to be tricky and likes to throw zombies at you in a bunch of different lanes, and so getting damage down in all of your lanes is an essential thing, because oftentimes, especially in the harder levels, they will try and throw like 5 zombies at you all at once, like right off the get-go, and so making sure you have all your lanes covered is an absolutely essential part to building a good strategy. Now, the third rule is to make sure that you are expanding and prepared for just about anything the game could throw at you, because they will try throwing pretty much everything you can think of at you at some point in the game. And so in this instance, for example, if we were to have, say, like 5 bucket heads suddenly come at us in the top lane, which, you know, this is a pretty early level, and so that's not actually going to happen, but still, if we were to have 5 bucket heads coming at us in the top lane, then we would be prepared for that, because we have a walnut down there, and so the walnut can tank while the pea shooters do enough damage to take out all of the bucket heads. And so, again, having a versatile strategy is an absolutely essential part, because this game likes to throw really weird things at you, kind of cockeye in different lanes and, you know, stuff like that. And so, while this strategy actually looks really nice right now, a lot of times your strategies won't end up looking that nice and will be kind of wonky. And so, that is absolutely fine and an essential part of the game, making sure that you are adapting to the situation. Strategy tip number 4 is to always use your plant food wisely. As you can see right here, we have our pea shooters and we have our cabbage pults in the back. And as you see these plant foods go off, we'll notice that the cabbage pult's plant food effect does a really good amount of splash damage, and so it's really good at dealing with a lot of lesser health things, such as big waves of like imps and regular zombies, like that final wave right there, whereas the pea shooters thing is actually very nice at dealing a lot of point damage to a single lane. And so, as we can see right there, it completely takes out a bucket head and keeps on going. And so, make sure you know what the plant food effects do and use those to your advantage in wise situations. But above all of those strategy tips, we really need to be making sure that we are versatile in our strategy. And so, as you can see, even when I was talking about getting your sunflowers down as quickly as possible, and that should be the first things, some of the first things you spend sun on, well, as you can see, I actually placed down a pea shooter in the middle of that, and so it, again, has to come down to what is the situation, and is that actually a good idea for the strategy? And now that's where a lot of the other strategy videos I will be making are going to come into play, and as far as when being versatile will, in this way, will get you further versus not as far and stuff like that. And so you just want to make sure you're being careful and trying to make sure you have a steady supply of sun. And that was our first tip. We want to make sure we have damage in every lane. We want to make sure that we are prepared for anything the game could throw at us, and we have a backup plan, and we want to make sure that we are using our plant food wisely. And so, as well as just being all around versatile and making sure we are aware of the situation and what all of the zombies can do. Now, the last couple tips I have are not so much an in-game tips so much as overall, like, as you're playing the game tips. And so the game will try and get you to spend coins on plant food and power-ups and all that jazz. That is not what we want to be spending our coins on. Nuh-uh. We want to be spending our coins on plant upgrades, because those actually get quite expensive quite quickly, and so that's what we want to be saving up our coins for. All of the levels are beatable without using the coin extra stuff, and so you don't need to worry about not being able to beat a level just because you're unwilling to spend coins on one of their little power-ups. And so one of the other things is to save up your gems. Don't just spend them on tiny little things. You want to make sure you're getting the most out of those, because those are expensive. Even if you're going to like pay for your own gems, they are super expensive, and so they are pretty valuable things. I even sometimes will like watch ads to try and get a few, but they will pop up in game, as you can see from this clip right here. Just occasionally when you defeat a zombie, you'll get a gem, and you save these up, and you can actually buy some of the premium plants with the gems. And so one of the best ones is the fire pea shooter, because it is practically essential for the frostbite caves, because of the heating effect that it gives. But you also, once you have all those plants, you can also spend your gems on large seed packet pinatas. And so those will give you an absolute ton of seed packets and will be a major help in order to upgrade your for upgrading your plants and so on and so forth. And so you want to be saving up your gold and your gems and stuff like that for all the good stuff that the game has to offer later on, instead of just like, you know, so you can make stuff easier on you right now. But anyway, those are all of the beginner strategy tips that I have for PvZ2. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will probably be coming out with some more strategy videos for Plants vs. Zombies 2 soon. And so stay tuned for those, and I will see you in another video. Take care. Bye.